Hi guys, welcome back to Ethically Questionable, the show where we try to figure out how we can keep having everything we want in life without fucking up the planet. I'm your host, Shamila Brown, and today's episode is so exciting, guys. I know I promised you my boss, I know I promised you my old boss at the end of the last episode, but I've had to do just a slight pivot because I had a super inspiring conversation with somebody who has really helped me rethink so much about sustainability, my lifestyle, my wardrobe, etc. And I just really wanted to share it with you guys right up at the top. So today's guest is the incredible ESHITA Kabra-Davies. She is the founder of By Rotation, the world's largest clothing rental app. And when I met her 2 years ago, it was really because I was so curious about this whole renting thing. I had interviewed Emily Chan, who's senior sustainability editor at British Vogue, and she told me that she only buys 5 items of clothing a year, which I was like stunned by because, we live and work in these worlds where, you have to be well presented at all times. You constantly need a new outfit, right? Like, God forbid that you like rewear something to an event, which is actually totally fine, by the way. But, there's all this pressure to look good and constantly look new and fresh, etc. And she works in fashion. So when she told me she's only buying 5 things a year, I had to know how she did that. And her answer was renting. So I got interested in renting. I started exploring it. And then when I finally did meet up with ESHITA, she basically like unlocked my brain and like opened my mind into all the actual like many benefits that come along with renting beyond just the environmental upside. There's financial upside, there's mental upside, there's social upside. I mean, it was just like mind blowing. So definitely had to bring that conversation to you guys. But before we get into it, a bit of ethically questionable news for the week. Yesterday was the London Marathon. I was lucky enough to be in BBC Radio Centre with Gabby Roslin, and she was talking to loads of people at the marathon about this amazing, triumph that they just completed. I will caveat again that, I said at the last episode, I don't run. Not the biggest runner over here, but of course I can only, barely begin to scrape the edges of appreciation of how incredible that feat is for people to do. I mean, 26.2 miles, and they're doing it with like fridges strapped to their backs. They're like dressed as polar bears, And it reminded me of a few years ago when I had visited this place in East London called Nopla, who are an innovation lab that were creating a plastic-like material made totally out of seaweed. And they had partnered with the London Marathon to deliver the hydration gel sachets that the runners are getting as they're going in this seaweed material. So you could chuck it in your mouth, drink it, swallow it, stay hydrated, keep running, zero waste. I mean, totally incredible. Min and I went to go visit them. We had the chance to try it. I was too scared, but Min did it and she was like, boom, a solution. So it got me thinking a lot about some other news I'd seen recently. The Paris Marathon, which was just 2 weeks prior, had totally banned single-use plastic water bottles and cups. Phenomenal, right? If you've got thousands and thousands of people running on the streets and even more spectators and even more like media attention, what not a better platform for environmental positivity than something like this? But of course, the feedback on these initiatives has been mixed, right? Some people were really massively complaining, like, we've got much bigger things to worry about than single-use plastic, which gets cleaned up and recycled anyways. Like, what about all the people flying in? Or what about runners' race times, et cetera, et cetera? What about the bibs? What about this? What about that? Do you know what I say to these people and what you should also say to those people? We can do more than one thing, guys. Like, things can exist at the same time. We can care about the planet, we can care about runners' race times, we can also try to get rid of some plastic. Like, why shut things down completely when innovation and progress for an issue that we know, we can see with our eyes exists, is worth exploring? So my response to the naysayers is like, lighten up, dude. Lighten up. Like, let's give it a shot, right? Let's find another, if that doesn't work, let's find something else. But let's not just totally discard an initiative, which has massive impact and massive potential, becomes like, well, whatever, please get real. A few other pieces of news that I was really inspired by this week. New Mexico, a state in the southwest of America, where I'm from, has just opened the country's largest wind farm. Super exciting. Again, any environmentally positive news coming out of America is my favorite, because the headlines would suggest that it ain't happening, but things are happening, and that is phenomenal. So well done, New Mexico. Keep it up. I mean, solar seems like an obvious one for you guys. You're literally in a desert, but wind, solar, clean energy, regenerative energy, I'm here for it. Let's keep it going. And then secondly, ECOSHA, so ECOSIA. I don't know if you guys have ever heard about this search engine or remember it from, years before, but essentially they're like a Google competitor. So you type in ecosha.org, you do your Google search or your ECOSHA search, I suppose, and then the money they generate from ad revenue, the same way that Google and Bing and Ask Jeeves and all those things do. The money that they generate goes to environmental causes, 100% to climate change and climate protection initiatives. And this week, they have planted their 250 millionth tree as a result of all of our ECOSHA searches. So you know what I say? You know what I've done actually is I've gotten Google off of my home screen on my phone and I've put ECOSHA there because if all it takes is me just engaging with my day-to-day behavior to have this sort of impact, why wouldn't I make the simple swap? So I will drop the link for them in the show notes. But I mean, that's an easy one that's creating fantastic, phenomenal change. We should all get involved and let's see if we can help them get another 250 million more in an even shorter time frame. Right. So that's a quick round the headlines news trip for me. Let's get into the Polestar and catch up on the conversation on rethinking our wardrobes with ESHITA KABRA-DAVIES. Welcome to the car.
Thank you for having me in this beautiful Polestar.
Yes, my absolute pleasure to have you in here.
Are you a good driver?
See, everyone keeps asking me this. I will say, I am American. I've been driving since I was 15 years old.
Yeah.
And I'm much older than that now.
Okay,
that's
so you have years of experience.
I have lots of experience. Good or bad, I think is subjective.
Yeah, but there's that saying in that, is it Malcolm Gladwell, in that book, 10,000 hours is all it takes.
Is it?
To be an expert at something.
Is it?
So
definitely got that.
Do you think you've banked, 10,000 hours?
Yeah, because in America, you drive everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to drive myself to high school, back and forth every day. I lived in Germany for a while, drove everywhere there on the Autobahn.
Yeah.
To be fair, I actually drive a lot here as well, which is not the most sustainable, but I do have 2 kids and they do go to school in a different part of town than I live in.
Fair enough.
And to drive there is 15 minutes. To get public transport there is an hour and 20 minutes.
No. You have to do the driving.
So it's just not feasible.
Yeah. Efficiency is so key.
Yeah.
I feel.
But they are moving schools closer to our new neighborhood next year. So that is good. I'm actually looking forward to doing more walking, more public transport, more cycling, all those sorts of things.
Love that for you.
Indeed.
Okay, so I'm with a very good driver.
Yes,
which is,
you're in safe
I
hands.
love a good ride.
You and the baby, very safe
Yes,
hands.
2 of us.
I'm going to be extra slow for the baby. And how exciting to be pregnant and to be, soon to be working mom, but now a founder on her pregnancy journey. How does it feel? Does it feel different? Does it feel exciting? What's the vibe?
I don't know. I mean, I like to think I'm in this bubble where I'm convincing myself that everyone is really supportive and happy for me.
Aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, you never know, right? And I guess no one's going to tell you to your face that they're not sure if you're as committed anymore. Oh. And maybe that's my own insecurity as well. Do people look at me in a different way?
Who would be putting that pressure on you? Like an investor or something?
Yeah, I guess external stakeholders. Yeah. You've got competitors, you've got people in the industry.
Yeah.
I mean, I like to think it's sort of just a recalibration of my own, I guess, goals in life and the way that I want to continue approaching how I run Biotation.
Yeah.
For me, I see it very much part of my life. It's actually very, 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 let's say, intertwined with who I am as a person.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think motherhood will actually bring a lot to the business as well.
Yeah.
Renting for your pregnancy journey, that's a big thing.
Oh, have you had that on the app already? Or
we've always had it as a collection, and it's never been a strong push. Yeah. Just we like to think all these different moments in your life are just part of your life. They're chapters. They're not, there's no single one that's meant to be more special than the other. Yeah. They're all just different chapters. Yeah. So we've always had, maternity related collections. But I guess now we're kind of, we've got a storytelling angle to it and our marketing side of things.
Yeah, well, that's exciting. And actually, I don't wonder if this is out there already or maybe it's something that you guys will do more of, but renting baby clothes and kids clothes is probably a decent idea because they grow out of it so quickly. It is so temporary.
Would you do that for clothing though, or more so items? Because we're currently speaking and thinking about getting more lifestyle premium objects on the app. So beyond just clothing.
Yeah, so like the baby like chair that they're in for a bit and then they outgrow.
Yeah,
exactly. Brilliant.
Well, prams,
Yeah.
even things like baby carriers. We actually have quite a few already listed on the app.
Yeah. And then you would rent them for longer term periods, right?
Exactly. And sometimes like people are like, oh, I want my baby carrier to match my outfit.
Oh my God.
We have people doing that, those really chic article.
Yeah.
Baby
like
carriers.
300 quid or something like that. I didn't get one this time.
Exactly. Yeah. And they're so chic. But then if you want to wear something like a bit loud in terms of print, they might not go with what you want it to wear.
Yes.
To a wedding or something.
Oh.
So we've seen a lot of those rentals happen on the app.
That's quite smart.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
So there's definitely an angle there.
Yeah.
And I think on the baby clothing side,
like the clothes do get destroyed.
Yeah.
But I will say, so I have 2 kids. As you know, I've got a 10-year-old. So she was a baby 10 years ago, which is so much different than to my 2-year-old who was more recently a baby. And for many reasons, they were very different experiences, mostly because of like my age and like where I was in my life.
Yeah.
But what I found with baby number 2 is like now all of my friends also have babies.
Yeah.
And so as soon as I was pregnant, I started getting given bags and bags and bags of clothes that they were like offloading.
That's great though.
It is great, and I've now passed those on as well. But it makes me think that there is a market for clothes that aren't getting so destroyed they can just stay in the loop. Like I think still Ivy's 2, and I still have bought maybe like 2 things for her whole life.
That is incredible. Yeah, that is incredible.
Yeah,
good for you. I'm gonna have to do like an update with you as to how it goes with when my first baby arrives.
Yeah, if you want some clothes, I'll send some over.
I would love Ivy's clothes. Yes.
Ooh, wait, but is that a hint of the gender?
I don't know. The baby could be either way, and it's all about gender fluidity as well, true. Isn't it?
And also, Ivy has a lot of gender neutral clothes because she's got an older boy cousin who sends her stuff down all the time as well.
That's very sweet.
Yeah. Good. But okay, so let's get to the beginning, to the origin story of how not even how you started meditation, but like your origin story, which I absolutely love.
Oh, well, me.
Yeah.
I was born in the desert of India, which is Rajasthan, so west of India. It's where you see all those incredible India campaigns, those palaces, those deserts. And I moved to Singapore at the age of 2.5. My dad emigrated there to work in the construction industry. Yep. So he imported marble and granite and sold it to local, malls, condominiums and things like that. And that was a huge boom. And this is before SARS, so in the 1990s in Singapore. So, yeah, he very quickly kind of really, realized that this is where his base was going to be. And then I moved to the UK for university.
Okay.
And then I, as an international student, you kind of realize after while you're about to graduate that if you don't find a job, and that too at a large company that can sponsor your visa, you're gonna get kicked out of the country. And that's when I was like, okay, well, I love marketing, I love advertising, I love graphic design, but I think I have to sell my soul and work in finance. So right after uni, right after undergrad, I got a job at Standard Life Investments, which is an asset management firm.
Yep.
And then I was essentially an investor in corporate bonds for 6.5 years.
It sounds so boring.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh my God, I meant to be an engaging guest.
Not you. The job. You're amazing.
I love the job.
Did you like working
in
investment?
I love my
corporate
job.
bonds? What does it even mean? I don't even understand.
So, you know how people invest in stocks and shares?
Yes, okay.
So I'm investing in corporate bonds, which is I'm lending money to companies.
Okay.
And I specifically focused on lending money to banks.
Okay.
And banks actually borrow about 40% of corporate bonds. So they're like one of the biggest sector out there. Because if you think about it, right, like the money that you're taking when you take a loan from a bank, like there's not enough deposits to cover all the loans. I
wondered what that was about because I'm like, how can everybody be getting a loan?
Yeah, exactly. When their deposits are like
people's money. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So it's not just other people's money, which is their deposits.
Right.
It's also the bonds that the banks have issued that we have lent them money to as asset management firms.
Okay.
So yeah, sorry. That does sound quite boring for this.
No, I will say it actually is more interesting when you kind of explain it because it opens up this whole world that I just don't understand. But I will say a lot of it is kind of big over my head.
but a lot. So there's like so much arbitrage to be made there, right? We lend the bank this amount, and the bank lends it to you at a higher amount, and then they make the money on that. They call it the spread. And interestingly enough, what I'm doing now with buy rotation is completely unrelated to bonds. Yeah. But I'm still an investor. But more of an investor in designer clothes.
Yes. Okay, explain that to me.
So, buy rotation, which is a fashion rental app. Yeah. But actually, it's so much more than that. It's a social network where people are renting and lending designer clothes and premium lifestyle goods with each other. Yeah. And they're saving the planet, because they're sharing items with each other. Yes. And they're consuming less,
wasting less, consuming less. Yeah.
Exactly. And interestingly, some of our top lenders are making more than £250,000 from this side hustle of lending things like their dresses.
What? Like in a few years they've made that?
Yeah. Well, some have made that even in a year and a half.
No, you're joking.
Yeah. But it's been really, really interesting kind of seeing yourself as a dress picker rather than a stock picker.
Oh, okay.
So, you buy a dress, you buy a piece, and you rent it out.
You think
and you make your money back.
Return on investment, ROI. Exactly. Look at me.
Exactly, but on a dress, which is just so it's become a new way to look at fashion and how you go shopping. Yeah. You really think about these pieces as investments rather than following trends that, shopping guides keep telling you to buy every single week.
Yeah, of course. And when you were setting up buy rotation, did you already have that sort of side of it in mind? Like, did you set it up because you wanted to be trading dresses instead of stocks, or did you set it up for different reasons that kind of came out of it later?
Yeah, I mean, I founded buy rotation as a side hustle, and interestingly, it goes back to my roots, which is Rajasthan. We were going on a trip of a lifetime, which was our honeymoon, back in February 2019. And when I was planning the itinerary, I was also thinking about all the cool outfits I wanted to wear. Yeah. All the amazing imagery I wanted to capture, even though I was just a desk corporate girl.
Yeah. You sound very organized.
Oh, yeah, no. That spreadsheet still very much exists. And that spreadsheet, that workbook for our trip, had this sheet called sheet number 9. And that had this entire product gap analysis of fashion rental platforms across the world.
Okay.
And yeah, it's just so, it's crazy because I look back at it now and I'm like, oh my God, like what we're doing is still very different from what's out there. We've completely disrupted other rental solutions, which hold stock, which have inventory, which actually promote overconsumption because there's subscription models where you have to rent 5 items a month.
That shit.
Yeah. Whereas for us, it's like you rent what you need and you share it with each other and you monetize all the 70% of garments that are just sitting in your wardrobe that you never used for the last 12 months. And, that's the kind of, that's like the next iteration, I believe, of this rental model. Yes. So it's more like Airbnb and, all these other sort of sharing economies.
Oh my gosh. So instead of like buying an apartment to Airbnb, you buy a whatever bag or whatever or dress.
Yeah. Well, not that, but more like it's more like
to rent out on buy rotation.
Exactly. If you're kind of like not, so when we say it's like Airbnb, we're kind of saying like you're using someone else's item and paying them.
I see what you mean. So you're not saying you're specifically the landlord in the situation.
Yeah. It's more about the sharing economy.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. And then, but I feel like obviously, and you've touched on this, there is obviously a climate upside, environmental win, right?
Yeah. I mean, what's been incredible is like when I first came up with this idea, it wasn't all about the sustainability draw. On my honeymoon, I did witness the first-hand effects of textile waste that were impacting my people, Indians, right? And actually a lot of what happens in the Western world when we're disposing of these garments into landfills, these landfills are in the so-called developing countries or third world nations or whatever it is, just for us to forget about and not care. And I think that's where that entire system and industry seems so racist and broken. And I just feel like we can bring the onus back on the consumer to allow them this option to be much more conscious when they are actually engaging in new fashion.
Yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily need to be a new product. It can just be a new experience.
Yeah.
You know, when you're renting a dress from another woman, another person, and you feel like, oh my God, I looked amazing in this dress. It's not a new dress, but that doesn't matter. For me, it's a new experience.
Yeah.
I look different and new in it.
Yeah. Do you know, I have rented like a dress or two on buy rotation for like different events and stuff.
Yeah.
And I always get so excited when it's something that I probably wouldn't have bought myself.
Exactly.
But I like everything else in this girl's wardrobe, and I'm going to give it a try, and it's the right color that I have to wear for the theme or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I get this dress and I'm like, I feel and look amazing. And like this, you know, I don't know that I would have had that experience if I hadn't felt so comfortable being a bit adventurous, because it was a bit less of a financial risk for me to do so.
Exactly. And then you're like, oh, like I kind of like it, but not enough to like buy an entire new dress for it.
Yeah.
Because I maybe will just wear it once.
Yeah.
You know, whereas for rental, it's like, oh my God, I think I kind of like it. I'm going to try it out and I'm going to see how I feel.
Yeah.
And if I don't like it, that's fine, because I only...
more experimental.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's the really exciting thing about it. And it's exactly what you said. It's about how it made you feel. And I think we focus on that a lot when we think about our marketing and our storytelling.
Yeah.
You know, it's not about the brand, the designer brand, or the label, or the make, or whatever. Like, of course, everything is quality and designer.
Yeah.
But it's really about how it made you feel. And that is all about community and connection.
Yeah.
And that's what buy rotation is.
Yeah.
And that's our moat.
And even going back to that like I have this like one white and blue dress in mind specifically that I rented, but I feel like I'm friends with that person now because I rented something else from her. I think it was like right when I had just had Ivy or whatever, and it didn't quite look right, and I sent it back. I was like, look, I'm really sorry, but you know, I just had my baby, and like nothing makes me feel good. And she was like, don't worry, babe, like why don't you try this one instead? And like it was so really sweet, and I felt like I had this like internet friend.
Yeah, the sister. We call it the sisterhood of the traveling dress.
Yes, exactly.
I'm so happy to hear about that that experience that you had, because I think for me that's what it's about. It's about finding your style match, and it could be someone else who has a completely different life to you.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, like I'm very happy to share my style with you.
Yeah.
Like it's not an inconvenience for me. It's actually kind of amazing that another person loves what I own.
Yeah.
Such a compliment.
Yeah. So when people come to buy rotation, I wonder like if you have any data, or I'm sure you have some insight on like what the driver is for them, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I started using buy rotation because I was like, this is a much more sustainable model. Yeah. But what are other people's reasons for joining? And is sustainability really one of them, or is that very much like on the
I'd say, to be honest with you, and I feel like it's like that with many other products and verticals as well. Right now, it's still about affordability.
Okay.
And if it can be sustainable as well, then great. That's like an extra bonus. And like, you know, we always do positive reinforcement and slight nudging. So you'll see at our checkout, it shows you the carbon emissions that you're saving when you're renting rather than buying new. Yeah. But, you know, it's not the main sort of, I'd say it's not the main value driver for most of our customers. You know, they are looking for something different that they can wear for less. Yeah. And that's okay, because I think it's one of those things, like, I always make this analogy, like being sustainable and choosing the most sustainable option, unfortunately, at the moment, because of the price factor, is like doing charity. You can't think about doing charity if you yourself, you know, don't have a handle on your life. Yeah, exactly. You know, like, how can you help someone else when you can't even make ends meet? Yeah. And you see that, you know, and that's why I would never, like, you know, shame anyone for buying fast fashion if that's the only thing, you know, they can buy. Yeah. If they can afford to buy. Yeah.
I mean, my, like, take on all of that is the, like, fast fashion side and the, like, I can't afford to be more sustainable thing is a real communications problem, actually, because the way that I've, like, thought about buy rotation and, like, renting my own clothes out on it and just fashion in general is that by me buying, a more expensive piece of clothing that's made more ethically, that is using better materials and that has more longevity to it than a fast fashion piece, is actually an investment not just in my own wardrobe or in my own lifestyle or my own values, but also in my pocket because I can rent it out on Viro.
And that's
and
definitely
I think that's
the goal.
a mindset shift that needs to happen in our culture, which obviously that's going to take so much work, but I really don't think that this is for me it's a shame that people think that sustainability is the charity option or the more I have to take care of myself first before I can start thinking about the planet, because actually if you're thinking about the planet, you do ultimately end up serving yourself better anyways, and this sort of lie we've been told, or the system we've been sort of stuck into.
I'm completely with you on
I'm
that.
preaching now.
No, I'm completely with you on that.
Yeah.
But I'm just, noticing the behaviors of the mainstream public.
Yeah.
And I will say you're not really mainstream. You are highly educated.
Oh.
You actually have a conscience. Whereas I'm not saying most people don't.
Yeah.
But I would say you're probably more of a, you care more about the climate crisis
but
than
also
most.
I guess I have the privilege to be able to do that as well.
And that's what I mean. So we know that this is true. We know that there's obvious change that can happen. But, you see all these big corporations who know how much money they can make by cutting corners and selling you the cheapest product that they could make through production and putting margins through it through marketing, mindless marketing.
Well, that is my other point in all of this, is that actually I feel so many people feel the onus is on them to make the more sustainable choice, when actually it's these companies who are putting out really
harmful
products,
messaging,
harmful products, dropping their waste in Africa and Asia, and making us all feel that that's our only option, and that's all we can afford, and that's all that we have the capacity to be able to engage with.
Absolutely. And I just feel there's so much. I mean, the way that I deal with that personally, and again, this is just how I deal with it, and it might be the wrong way for some people.
Yeah, of course, everyone's different.
Exactly, according to some people's opinions, that might not be the right way. But my way of dealing with it is giving them no airtime, no screen time.
Yeah,
just not engaging with them at all.
How do you do that? Because it's everywhere. It's omnipresent.
But I would never amplify their messaging. And part of this whole red pill thing, and Louis Theroux's documentary, which
him.
He's so cool, and he really does make you feel uncomfortable that you start talking.
Yeah,
it's such a great negotiating tactic. I do that a lot in business. I just let people talk. I'm keep talking.
I'm not good at the
an intense
space.
eye contact.
Do you? Okay.
But in a nice way, not in a scary way.
I'm gonna practice, because I just talk.
Well, I just find with if you're in a negotiation sort of situation, let the other person talk, and I feel that's what Louis Theroux does.
Yeah.
He kind of asks you. He drops one question, and then you're now I have to explain.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, I'm letting you in on all my secrets and all my deep, dark, shameful habits.
That's what I do all the time. Anyways.
So back to that documentary, right? It just really highlighted that if you give these people any airtime, even by commenting or posting about how terrible they are, you are helping them get louder.
That's a good point.
And I'm just not going to engage with any of these
Pretend they don't exist.
Yeah, and and again, that's also my privilege, that I can pretend that they don't exist, but I'd rather have my blinkers on and be I am going to use all the energy that I have and all the resources I have to talk about biorotation and other sustainable solutions and companies that I think are doing a great job.
Yes. Okay, on that, I have a question then.
Yes.
So I think that there are probably quite a few... Oh my God, am I going to make it through this thing? Okay, hold on. You haven't driven yours yet, so you don't know.
I don't know how to drive as well.
Oh, so you're not going to be driving it.
No.
Okay, we made it.
You did well. Oh my God, that was tight though.
So you know what? There's 2 of those near my house, and so John, my partner, and I have gotten really good at being okay, we got it.
Good to know though. I feel I'm going for a test drive with you.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
Oh my God, that was scary. You did well.
Thank you. Okay, so I totally lost my train of thought though. Other companies. Okay,
yes.
So I have this belief, I think it's probably a fact, that there's quite a few companies in our society who are also doing things that are much better environmentally, but that's not at all the reason why people like think about them or use them or
like
lean
Oatly.
on them. Like Oatly, yeah. Or like, I was thinking like Gusto and like HelloFresh and like things like that.
It's a bit of plastic there. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. That's a good point, actually.
Sorry.
But I think there's less food waste.
Yes, yeah, fair enough. I mean, when I buy like 5, I'm forced to buy 6 tomatoes when I only need 1. Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Mm-hmm.
And then so on that note, I'm curious for companies like this.
Yes.
If sustainability isn't the main like hook for their consumers, but there's potential to like keep pushing the needle. Is there a risk that these companies get complacent where they're at and keep the plastic or whatever it is and not continue to innovate because that's not the main thing that's getting their customers in?
I don't think that's necessarily true, to be honest. I mean, it depends if they end up being this sort of financial stress, and obviously that, that has a lot to do with where we are in the economic, macroeconomic situation and markets. But I do believe, sorry, I do believe that if the company is truly mission oriented and, that is something that is, it's like their overarching reason for being, which is that we are here, to, transform so and so in the food waste sector. If that is true, that is actually true. By the founding team, by the C-level executives, by the top management, and that's how they run the company. Then no matter what they do, they will never ever look at rolling things back. That's what I believe.
Or keeping them at stasis, which I think is maybe.
Which is the worry, But that's where, we do need to find ways, and again, not to make this more of like a political conversation, but we do need to
talk about politics.
Oh, sorry. We do need to find a way to kind of, ensure that there are, I don't want to use the word subsidies, but more incentives, exactly. For companies to move towards more climate positive actions and movements. Like, for us in particular, if I can make a case, if anyone is listening,
let's hear it. Come on.
Remove VAT from our service, because what we're offering is a service, and it's a service that is much more circular, and it's getting people to reuse things rather than throw them to landfills. This extends to things like even furniture. Like, the fact that there is a cap, and this is the second point. So the first one is the VAT removal. The second is the fact that there's a cap on the personal goods allowance when it comes to how much you can trade per year.
What?
I think it's capped at
What's
1,000.
personal goods allowance?
So if you're selling things on secondhand platforms, or like eBay, Vinted,
or like
those,
Vinted,
or if you're renting things out and you're making profit on them, then you do have to disclose that. That as taxable allowance, the income on
how
that.
Much? Like
anything,
or like if I
anything over 1,500, you have to start paying tax on it.
Okay.
And that's not great, because here we are trying to get people to get as much use of these quality pieces that they should be investing in.
And build the circular economy.
Exactly, and not dispose things off in the landfill, because you're like, well, what's the point of selling this off if like I'm going to get charged and I have to do a bunch of tax around it. So I think these two things, just like bare minimum for the circular goods industry and services.
Okay, interesting. Okay, so what else? I mean, we've talked about a lot of things that we could rent already, but where do you think you see this like going? You mentioned more of the like the personal. Did you say personal goods in the beginning? We were talking about baby stuff. What else
luxury lifestyle items. We've seen things like the baby carriers, as I mentioned. We've seen luxury luggage. So Rimowa, Samsonite suitcases, which is great because
that's a good one.
Well, I don't know if I want to buy I want to buy one of those cases.
Oh my gosh, ESHITA, I'm literally going to New York next week.
You gotta check it out.
Umming and ahhing over if I want to get a mono suitcase or not, which is like super sustainable, but it's like 300 quid. I only need a medium-sized one. I've got big ones at home for like family holiday, and I don't know what to do. And now I know I'm gonna rent.
Well, you know what? We also gotta get them on the platform then. That's a good shout, actually. Because, I mean...
Monos, please sponsor us.
Yes. This is not sponsored, but it can be. But yeah, I think there's so much there in lifestyle goods.
Yes.
We saw someone list the Lima laser.
What's that?
It's like a laser, which is like, it helps with like your skin texture and things like, I guess like the aging and the healing process. And there's like a wait list of over 100 million in the US for this product. It's like a facial laser.
Wow.
And, someone listed it on the app. And now I'm like, wow, you can actually try before you buy, because the cheaper one is like £2,500 anyway. So that was really cool to see. But beyond, I guess, different verticals when it comes to the sharing economy, I'm very excited about going global. It's just, I feel like there's so many untapped markets beyond the UK and US where we currently operate. If you look at European markets, they fully understand sustainability. They care about it even more so than these two other markets. The governments seem to be much more pro it as well. So that's very exciting to us. And I'd say in Asia, the attitudes and the stigma around secondhand is actually kind of disappearing. It's becoming cool thanks to a lot of like talent and celebrities talking about archival fashion again.
That's so interesting. I'm always so fascinated by the difference in opinion between like the West and the East on some of these things. So that's a good one to pick up, actually.
Yeah, I think, there's a lot of like cultural stigma around secondhand.
Yeah.
But I think the young
because it's like, oh, you're poor.
That,
okay,
like the Emperor's New Clothes. The Emperor's New Clothes vibes. But there's also like religious stuff around it. Like, we have a few festivals in Hinduism where you wear new clothes. You specifically wear new clothes, right?
Okay.
So I think there's like that stigma around. Like, do you not have money? There's an embarrassment around wearing secondhand. And then it's someone's bad luck that you could be wearing.
I've thought about that.
Yeah, the superstition around
I'm into vibes, so I did kind of think about that one.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that's cuckoo.
I like to call it woo woo.
Woo woo. Okay, fine. You go with woo woo. Just because I think then you also have to feel weird about sleeping in a hotel room. That's what I would say.
Yeah, sometimes I do think about what's happened in this hotel room before.
You don't want to know.
You know what I mean?
Don't go there.
But it's not to say that I like don't rent and don't feel like weird about clothes. But what I'm saying is I can understand why some people are like, things have energy.
No,
and that might translate to like
totally agree with energy. But that is where we're a social network where you chat with each other and you're like, this person is being strange. There is some weird energy. I don't think I want to rent from them. And I think that's where the community and connection aspect is so important. It's like, it's not transactional. You're not renting from a company.
That was actually literally my next question. What do you think about companies renting things out? I'm going to name drop one. I remember seeing a few months ago, maybe a year ago, that All Saints were going to start this like rental, maybe it's a subscription thing. Yeah, the clothing brand All Saints, where you could like, I guess, pay a membership fee or whatever, and you could get X amount of All Saints clothing pieces a month and then send them back. But I think that's gone away now because I was trying to look for it the other day and I couldn't find it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I would know the provider who would have done the white labeling for them. I think, I think it's great that, they want to experiment with this new business model, which, hopefully they do seriously take as a revenue driver. But I think it's maybe more around previous season and stock. And it's kind of a way of, finding a use and a purpose for them. I'm just not convinced at the way that we're pushing consumption and marketing that the mainstream audience is going to engage with renting older season items on a subscription basis. So you have to rent 5 items a month for it to actually, be exciting enough for the money that you're paying for it. So I think that inflexibility side of things makes me less excited about the subscription model when it comes to clothing rental. But I am very excited about brands getting more involved in renting out really special, serious pieces that, they're like an average customer would maybe not want to buy, but would love to try before they buy. So I kind of see it more as a, like a new customer acquisition channel. So an example. Yeah, I mean, an example is like this insane Tory Burch couture runway dress that I rented from another lender on the Buy Rotation app. She actually lived in 2 neighborhoods down me. So I just sent like a courier. Within 60 minutes, I had it with me. And that dress retailed for £3,000. You cannot find it anywhere. I literally have so many people still DMing me on Instagram asking me,
is this the green one with the mirrors on it?
Yellow with mirrors all over it, which is actually very Indian as well, the artisan work on it. And that dress, I think, is 2 seasons, like 2 years old. Right? Two past, seasons, whatever, old. And you just cannot buy it anymore. And the brand apparently sold it at a sample sale for £130.
No.
And this lender bought it, got very lucky.
Yeah.
And now she is monetizing it. Every rental, she's making over £250. Imagine if the brand did that. Imagine if brands themselves were kind of lending out their most special pieces, which also could be from a previous season,
right,
just to entice new customers to start thinking, maybe this brand is a brand that I should start like buying things from because their fit really suits me. So I see it as a user acquisition exercise rather than how do I get rid of my old stock. Okay. That's how I would advise brands.
Okay. Because I think some of the ways that old stock has been getting shifted in the past has been pretty gross. Like, have you ever seen those, like, there's people who, like, dive in dumpsters behind shopping malls in America, and then they'll find, like, have you not heard about this? And then they will...
What, like, in situ? They're dumping stuff.
So, like,
not even far away.
No. So, like, at the shop, they'll be like, right, Coach bag or whatever.
Yeah.
This season's done. Here's the next season. Destroy all the handbags before you put them in the dumpster so that nobody can use them.
So they'll like light fire.
They'll like slice them up. They'll cut them up with razors, all sorts of stuff. And then people will go and like, into the dumpsters and show like
dumpster diving.
Yeah, exactly. And they'll show this is what's like happening with the very cute. Yeah. With like these products.
I mean, I obviously heard about like brands like lighting fire and stuff like that and sending things to landfill. I mean, this is shocking. And I think it really, really tells you that money is being spent on marketing. It's to make the brand have a vibe and to seem sexy and exclusive. Like, it's not actually being sold on manufacturing the product and paying the garment workers or the artisans, which is sad.
Yeah, how little value they actually place on their own
on the actual product. Yeah,
that they're
it's more on the vibe.
To, absolutely destroy them rather than let somebody get it. Like,
and as someone who is just like over it, like I don't care if the vibe is cool.
Yeah.
Like, we need to see past that. It's not about coolness anymore. It's actually about like thinking about the sanctity of Mother Earth, which I think is being left out of the equation from these brands who are so protective of their image and their vibe.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the bigger solution is like stop making so much shit, right?
But there needs to be regulation around that.
Yeah.
There's no regulation about how much shit you can make.
Yeah.
I think, and again, I know you're going to make fun of me for this, but, in the financial services industry, there's a lot of regulation. They have learned from all the horrible things that have happened and impacted millions and billions of people worldwide. But, there have been regulations that have been put into place.
Yeah.
Why are we not doing that for the fashion and clothing and textile and garment industry?
I also think as well, like in the fashion industry or in the bags, right? So let's talk about this Tory Burch dress again, right? So 3,000 quid, but sold in sample sale for 130.
Crazy.
But if they were renting it themselves, they wouldn't have to have made, 10,
so many of them.
Only sold 2, trashed 6, and sold 1 at a discount. They could make that same money and more, putting it as a rental vintage, very rare, like, you can only get it.
Exactly. And one day in an exhibition.
And only one person at the party is going to be wearing it for sure because we only made 4 or, whatever, a very small number of them.
And I think that's really what I'm very excited about. Like, even on the Buy Rotation app, we've seen our average order value increase by more than 4-fold since inception. It is becoming much and much more of a premium platform.
Yeah.
People are renting really high value pieces that they not necessarily want to buy because they just want to wear it for a very special moment.
Yeah. Would it be weird, and you're going to have a good financial answer to this one, would it be weird if we as individuals owned significantly less stuff and actually the brands, or, I mean, this goes against the social network, but the brands are basically just renting 99% of their stock?
I mean,
that would be weird to always be renting in.
Yeah, but I
What's a post-ownership world look like? Not one we want to engage in, maybe.
So if you think about our parents, and our, not even just our grandparents, our parents' time, they didn't have that many clothes.
Yeah,
they never ever did. If you look at like old homes and things like that, none of them, besides really grand stately homes, have massive wardrobes.
That's
and
so
even then in the wardrobe, that like in the bedroom, there's actually not a massive like wardrobe in there.
Yeah.
So this is definitely like a new, because of the creation of polyester. Well, the creation of polyester has made clothing become, it's really given this impetus to the fast fashion industry. And I think, I could see us going back to really looking at craftsmanship and artisanship and avoiding all these synthetic fabrics and only investing in natural pieces. And then actually renting like, what a
significant portion more.
And very, very special pieces. So maybe what I would love to see is, fashion is really, I guess, seen as more dramatic and drastic. Like there's fewer brands that are just doing the same thing that everyone else that yet another brand is doing. Like everyone has a very unique identity as a designer, and they're the ones who are creating these incredible pieces that you rent, and then you own your classics and your signature pieces. You invest in those. I just don't you think there are too many? There's a new Instagram brand every single day.
The Instagram brands stress me out because I'm like, what is happening here?
They found like someone to manufacture
and who are you and where are you from? It's like I feel like I don't understand all this shit. I feel like I just don't understand it. But in my own wardrobe,
you understand it, but you're just like, why?
I don't understand why people aren't questioning it or aren't like.
You mean the consumers?
Yeah, like doesn't this feel weird to everybody else? Like
they're getting sucked in by the content.
Yeah, fair.
And the insecurity.
Yeah. Okay, well, I actually met you like maybe 2 years ago now, and ever since I did meet you, I've been thinking a lot about my own wardrobe and like what I want to get it to, and this is like my goal. Okay.
Yeah.
So, actually, because of you, I've started investing more in my wardrobe, and I've stopped buying clothes that are just like everyday clothes or whatever.
Yeah.
I basically will now buy things for like work events or for
very special
occasions, with the idea that like they are going to be pieces that I can rent out. Monetize, and then I can use the money coming in to fund renting other pieces so that I'm still not wearing the same outfit at every event or whatever, which is like a huge no-no.
That is our wallet feature.
But
on our app.
Oh, so
I never take my money out. No. Yeah, I just use it.
I basically just want it like, so my initial investment is like, the first few pieces that are going to help monetize. And then from there, I've just got money rolling in that funds, 20 other outfits for the year for me.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to get it to.
Yes. And I think, honestly, that is the way to go. That's what I feel I've been able to do with my wardrobe now. Like, I used to always, use, like, Fridays and weekends to shop online and, look for what's on sale and what, I could add to my wardrobe just because it's on sale.
Yeah.
And now I no longer do that. Yeah. Now I'm like, I don't need anything because I rent from others.
Yes.
And when I find something, which I'm crazy about, I think about it for weeks on end. And I'm like, you know what? Fine, I will finally buy it.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to wear it.
Yeah.
And then once I'm done wearing it the first time, because I do want to wear it first,
yeah.
I'm going to list it on the buy rotation app.
To rent it first, or to wear it first.
And then I also get an image of me in the outfit.
Of course,
which is great for the community aspect of it. And then I list it on the app, and then the rentals start coming in. But I think that's really, I would really recommend anyone who wants to get involved in this rotating wardrobe way of approaching your style to think about it that way. Like, only buy very special pieces.
Yes.
Obviously have your basics, your classics that you always go to every single day.
Your capsule wardrobe.
Exactly, that is the word.
Is it? I thought I made that up. Not made it up, but I was hoping it was correct.
No, but it's definitely the word they always use. And then use your rental income to rent crazy, outlandish, or like pieces you would never buy.
Yes. And then, so for me, I'm like, if I'm looking at it this way, like, instead of spending like £1,000 for the year at Zara or whatever, and then like being the girl that turns up to events wearing Zara,
and someone else is. No, but someone else does as well.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the other thing.
Instead, I'll spend my £1,000 on like cool pieces that I'm excited about, but also that I can rent out, and then that will fund, the other 20 outfits or whatever that I want to.
Exactly. I have to say, I have not shopped fast fashion since I founded By Rotation. Yeah. And I don't miss it at all. And look, I've definitely complimented people who are wearing fast fashion, and they're like, oh, but it's just this brand. And I'm like, that's great. Yeah. Like, you look amazing in it. Yeah. And as long as you wear it loads and you love it until the very end, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with fast fashion as long as you get lots and lots of use of it. I think what's wrong with it is how much they produce and how insecure they make you feel that you do need to go shopping every single week.
Yeah,
that's a problem. And I think over shopping, and I've done this in the past as a recovered shopaholic, comes from the fact that I'm lazy and I actually don't want to reinvent like an existing top or wardrobe or dress that I have by trying different styles. I think it's laziness, and I feel that about me.
I was thinking for me it's more like the laziness of like, do I have the time and effort and brain power to research what's gonna like, you know, be a better option or solution for me?
No, I totally agree. Like time, that is again like another privilege that not all of us have, right? But I found for me definitely I had the time rather than shopping online, like and spending hours looking for a good deal or whatever. I'm like, actually it's much more creative to like try different things out in front of the mirror. It doesn't cost any money.
Yes, exactly. Okay. All right. I have to drop you off soon, but before I let you go,
I'm gonna be sad.
I know.
This is fun.
I know.
I like being driven around.
Do you?
Yeah.
You know what? I'm getting
princess.
Quite tired of driving. I think next time make somebody else drive. No, not you, but I mean like in general.
Yes.
I'm going to make someone else drive next time.
Okay.
But the show's called Ethically Questionable.
Yes.
So we always have to go through a few hot takes. I'm going to give you some topics, and you have to tell me if you think they are ethical or questionable.
Okay.
Shared fast fashion.
Ethical.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, good.
I'll allow it.
I love it. Very expensive polyester outfits. Like 3,000-pound polyester dress.
Questionable. Like more because like what is the margin that the company is making on this?
I also think there's an expectation when you spend a lot of money that it's been made ethically. Mm-hmm. Okay. ESG funds. Ooh, I got a financial one in there. ESG funds.
Questionable because very, very hard to track exactly what's going on in there, and a lot of investors have pulled money out of them because they don't, you know, it's really just greenwashing.
Oh,
sadly.
Sad. Okay. Influencer hauls. But,
absolutely not.
Okay. Even if they're doing a sustainable haul. Not that I've ever seen that, to be fair, but
no. Sorry, like because you are still promoting consumption. Yeah, overconsumption.
Okay. All right, last one. Depop and other resale platforms.
Yeah, yay. Ethical. We like them. We need more of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. All right, well, we're at the end, but is there one final takeaway that you want everyone to know or hear, or any final insight you can give us on how to have everything you want in your life without fucking up the planet?
I think we really need to share more. I just don't know why we lost that connection with each other. And this is from someone who is very fiercely independent and a lone ranger.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, bring back sharing because it brings back human connection, which I think we need in this world of AI. Sorry, I dropped in that word.
Right. All right. Thank you so much. It's been amazing.
Thank you for having me,
I really
Jamila.
adore you. It's been so good. Right, guys, I absolutely loved that conversation. I think that ESHITA is so fascinating, and I love that she's come at this from this like finance background and has this totally different take on like what's possible and what's achievable if we shift our economic models, I suppose. I mean, the thing that I really took away from that and have been thinking about, to be honest, since I met her, is the way that we just value our stuff, right? Instead of like this constant like outstream of like buy something cheap and quick and, you know, thoughtless and let it end up as trash very quickly, and that's the end of your money as well as that item. Why not rethink the way that we're investing our funds into things that are like useful long-term for multiple people and join the sort of sharing circular economy so that our money is coming back to us, our items are staying in rotation longer, our resources, both planetary and monetary, economically. Remember I told you sustainability is 3 things: economics, environment, and social. All those things are really like sort of in a circular movement versus just a linear out the door shit trash one. So I really hope you found that useful. I've also been thinking about then what does my capsule wardrobe look like, and I think maybe we could do a whole episode on that because those are the more day-to-day things that, you know, we're renting, but again, want to have them long term, want to make sure that they're useful, want to make sure that, you know, I'm spending, whether it's $1,000 or £1,000 or whatever, on capsule day-to-day pieces that are feeding me and my financial goals and my social goals and my vibe goals, just as much as something that's maybe a lesser investment in those things. So that's it for today's show. Hope you guys liked it. Be sure to like and subscribe and follow and all of the things. You can follow me at Jamila Faye on Instagram, not on Twitter or X or whatever it's called, because not doing that. I'm also not on TikTok, so I'm just too old for that, but definitely on Instagram. You can follow me at Jamila Faye and DM me. Let me know your thoughts and comments on things. I will not promise you who the guest next week will be because I might switch it up, but just know that we have got a fabulous stack of interviews lined up for you guys that are really going to help you think about our goal, right? Having it all without burning everything down to the ground. So looking forward to seeing you guys next week. That's the end of the show. Thanks again for tuning into this week's episode of Ethically Questionable. For more info, thoughts, ideas, conversation starters, you can follow me, your host Jamila, at Jamila Faye. Ethically Questionable is electrified by Polestar, the Swedish electric performance brand created to accelerate the shift to zero tailpipe emissions. Their approach to transparency means every car they sell has a carbon impact report so you can drive with a conscience.